Okay, so now when we have successfully set up our repository, we can go ahead and clone it. So what I'm using as a Git client is essentially a source tree. So there are different tools there, Smart Git, you can use also command line, etc. But source tree is free and it's actually quite okay for this purpose. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open the source tree, and at the moment local repositories are empty on this page, and I'm seeing option here, clone. So if I click a clone button, I'm going to be able to select the repository itself, the URL of the repository, and I can get it just by clicking the clone button here, where the repository URL is displayed. So I'm just going to copy it to clipboard. I'm going to paste it inside the URL here. So right now, as you may see, the source tree already recognized that this is a Git repository. It already pre-selected some locations in my file system. So I don't care about it at the moment. This is, let's say, completely fine. Maybe I can just like choose C projects. Let me just create a new folder. Just going to call it project demo, and I'm going to go ahead and click clone button. And in just a second, I will see that I can actually see right here that I have a main branch and that I have a README file. So my files have been successfully cloned into my repository. So if I just 1 second, let me just navigate here. So if I just go here, I will see that I have a project demo. Now, working with a Git is quite simple, but it differs a bit from the classic TFVC. So with a Git, you're essentially working with repositories, and every single repository is just a delta from a main branch. So you don't make actually the clone of every single file like TFVC is doing. So right now, if I want to create a new branch and I want to call it, I can just click here and I can call it dev. I can just create a branch, and here it is. I'm already on a dev branch. So I can even push this branch. So let me just select the dev here, and I'm just going to push it to the remote. So what does it mean, push it to remote? So this means that branch is now going to be visible to everyone who is working on a project. So right here, you see dev, you see a main, and the main is the default branch. So usually what I'm doing is I'm doing my job from the dev branch. So this is always my development branch, and my main branch always has the latest stable version of the software. So something that have been deployed to the production environment. So if I want to work on my feature branch, what I'm going to do, I can just click here, branch, and let me just say, I'm just going to do new implementation, and I'm going to say init code. I'm going to create a branch, and now it's just a local branch. So if I just go on my repositories here, on my branches, sorry, in my repository, I see only dev and main. And if I refresh the page, I see just dev and main. So this is running locally on my machine. And here I can do different things. I can add more files. For instance, here, if I just go in the project demo and I say, this is a test file. And if I just save it, let me just add some comment like a test. You will see here that this has been recognized as a new file. So it's unstage file. If I want to commit it, I will have to put it to stage file, and I have a commit button. So I click here and I can add a message. So I'm going to add a message, adding test file. I'm going to commit the changes. And now what's interesting is when I commit the changes, they're again on my local branch. So there's nothing again here. I committed it, but it's nowhere. So how the other people can work on it? Well, simply, I can just press the push push button, and then I choose the branch where I want to push the code, and I click push, and that's it. Now everyone is going to be able to clone my repository, and everyone is going to be able to add their own code in it. So I think it's quite a simple process. So I think now we already learned how easy it is to add new files to the Git. And what I want to do is I want to create a new project, as said previously. I want to add .NET Core application into the project. So I already have the Visual Studio open. I'm just going to click File, New Project, and I'm going to write here MVC. And I already have here ASP.NET Core Web App Model View Controller. So I'm just going to choose this one. For the location, I'm going to use another one. My disk is almost empty, so I'm just going to choose Project Demo. The project name is going to be Test MVC Web, and solution name is just going to be called Test. I'm going to click Next. We're going to use .NET 5, so .NET 6 is still not available at this time. Authentication type, we can leave it to none at the moment. We don't really care about it. So I'm just going to click Create button. And the Visual Studio have just created us the template of the MVC project, which we can use to run our application. So now I'm going to try to build the project. This is going to probably download some NuGet packages, so it might take a few seconds. I actually have pretty decent internet connection as well. So build is succeeded. Let's try to run this on the IIS Express. And website is working. So this is quite cool. And what happened here is, if you just go in a project demo, you see here that we have created all this folder structure for our project, for our MVC project. So our Git client should recognize this already. And as you may see, all the files are here. So sometimes it can happen that you don't see it changes. You can just, click somewhere, and then the source tree is going to refresh itself and figure out what's missing. So what's happening here is I see a lot of files, and some of the files that are quite weird. For instance, I see this app settings development, app settings JSON, I see the PDB files, DLL files, all the files that are actually in bin debug. So this is something that I really don't want to have in my code. I don't want to have it on the repository. I don't want to have it available there, because it just doesn't make any sense. Every time when we build something, those files are going to be different, and they're reproducible on any other machine. So what we can do is we can just go ahead and we can Google something which is called Git Ignore. And Git Ignore is essentially a file that will tell to the Git client which files shouldn't use shouldn't put to the repository. So I'm just going to click here on the raw and copy all the files, go to the root position of the directory, and I'm going to call this file Git. I can just do it immediately. Git Ignore. And let's do it like this. I'm just going to edit it with a notepad. Just 1 second. And Notepad is now asking me millions of questions, so it's right here. So all the contents I have copied are right here. So I'm going to save it, and the magic will be shown in just a second. So you just saw that some of those files disappeared. So we only see the files that are useful for us, that should be there. So we'll just keep it like this, and obviously we can change this as well in the future. We can edit the Git Ignore file. So let me just commit this. stage all, I'm going to say here init commit, and I'm going to commit it, I'm going to push it. So now all the code has been pushed to the remote, so we can quickly see it in our repos. So if I just go here, you will see that all those things, or those controllers and the code in general has been committed, including even this config of the app. Okay, so now obviously I have finalized my work with init code, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to merge all the changes from the init code to the development branch. So how do I do this? First of all, I'm going to check out the development branch, and this I can do in two ways. I can do a right click and I can choose a checkout, or I can just double click init code. Quite simple. And now let me just merge, do the right click on the branch that I want to merge. I'm going to click merge this branch, and I can even create a new commit if fast forward is possible. So I'm just going to click OK, and that's it. The code from our implementation branch has successfully been merged to the dev, and I see that I'm 3 commits ahead the remote state. So if I just click the push button, all the changes are going to be pushed to the remote. Give it a second, and let's go ahead again, go to our branches, and it's saying that I just updated dev. So I'm going to click on a dev, and all the files are going to be available right here. So quite simple, I would say. The next step would be obviously to create build pipelines for the Azure resources. We're just going to have to create the Azure resources that we want to use. In this case, this is going to be a simple application service, which is going to host the web application, and the pipelines are going to build the code. The artifact of the code is going to be the web application itself, which we can use in our release pipelines to redeploy it to another stages. So that's it. Thank you very much.